Pastor Roy Gearhart from Galloway United Methodist Church in Franklin, Pennsylvania, sharing a few words of encouragement to help us follow after Jesus. Do you struggle to follow the Lord? I don't think that any of us could say that we don't. The fact of the matter is that every one of us will face at least some days where you will be challenged to trust God in a situation where you are in over your head, or to yield your life to God when God is stretching you and calling you to follow Him in a way that you've never done before. God will continually challenge us, in fact, so that we will, at some moments, have a struggle in following after the Lord. Some of you may have some huge battles in your life, battling with addictions or with sin that just clings to you, and trying to break away from it and find the fullness of joy and freedom and peace in Christ. It's a struggle, one that seems to go on perpetually. This is like the people of Israel. Whenever they entered into the promised land, they had so many battles then to face. And some of these battles seemed impossible, and it seemed as if sometimes it just might rage on forever. But there is a point at which they win, and the battle is done, and they are able to rest. They begin to just live life in the gift that God has given them. How did they win these battles? Well, they won not because of their own greatness, but because of God. Because when they trusted God and followed God, God had the power to keep His promise and to open up the way for them to enter into this place. This was put on display over and over again for them in battles like Jericho, where all that they did was march around the city, blow on their trumpets, and shout. Then God made the walls fall down. This action that they took seemed insignificant, except this: they did it in obedience to God. They trusted the Lord, and He opened the way, literally. Or in the battle with the 5 kings that we read about in Joshua 10, Joshua showed up, and God threw these 5 kings' armies into confusion, and then brought down hail on them that struck down more people than fell with the sword. And on top of that, extended the length of the day so that they had time to finish the battle. In all these things, God opened the way for them to win. And the key thing for them was to trust God. And that's where our battle is. Will we really stick to it and trust God? Or will we get distracted? Every time the people of God got distracted, got selfish, turned away, this is where the problems came. Like at the city of Ai, there was one guy that got selfish and decided to hang on to a prize that he was told not to take in hand. And everyone had to stop, and everyone had to make sure that this got straightened out before they could move forward, because they needed to all together be on the same page in order to move forward. It's the same for us, that it's where we trust God that we are able to really see these victories come about. But when we get distracted and looking around and grabbing onto things selfishly, this is where we begin to lose. This morning, I was walking our dog, and she's an incredibly loving dog. She's a rescue. We've had her for a few months, but we don't know what her life was before us. In the house, she is such a loving little pup. She wants to play with us. She'll howl at us to play. She'll want to jump around, and she's just too much dog to jump around like a pup. There, she wants to sit up close to you. She just is so sweet and loving. And then you get outside with her, and she is a hunt dog. I mean, she's a hound, so she is a hunt dog. And sometimes it makes me crazy, because we get outside and she is like wild-eyed, looking around. And she looks at me, and I'm not looking at my pup anymore. I've got this wild-eyed wolf that's on the hunt, and she can't even focus on me. And that's the way some of us are in our everyday pursuits. You know, at church, we're so tight with God. We're so full of joy. Tears are flowing. Praises are lifted up. And then we get into our everyday week, and we're like these wild-eyed critters, and we are looking for what we need to find. And like the man at Ai, we grab things selfishly, and we get drawn off course from God. And that's where life unravels. That's where the battles ensue at their very worst in our lives. You know, this morning I was kind of surprised. I picked up my coffee mug, and I realized it had a verse from Joshua 24. As for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. This is an important verse in the book of Joshua. In that chapter, he's reminding the people of all the things that God has done. And he says to them, you've got to make a choice. You have to decide, are you going to follow God or are you going to keep looking around? Because he said, that's the bottom line. And as for me and my house, he said, we're going to serve the Lord. What about you this week? How about right now? Are you going to choose this day to serve the Lord? May God bless you. And as you share this good news, may God make you a blessing wherever he takes you.